Hey everybody. So today I want to talk a little bit about pain and what happens when we are in pain. So the world of the study of pain, the science of pain is very fascinating. There's so much information out there. It's a little bit hard to try to explain the whole big picture in a short video, just because there's so much science involved as well. So I'm going to try and just give you a couple of practical tips that I find that a lot of people I've worked with have found very useful. So what happens when we have pain? Okay, so when I do something that causes pain, or I have pain somewhere for an unknown cause, my brain perceives it as a threat. And because of that perceived threat, and vice versa, actually, if something happens and my brain perceives it as a threat, it will give me pain. So there's a little overlap there. But I digress, okay? This is what I mean. There's lots of tangents I can go on. I will try not to. So what happens is my brain will sort of spill out stress chemicals into my system. They do a few things. They actually increase my sensitivity to pain. They change my inflammatory response. They even can change my immune response. So pain is very powerful in how it affects our body, and how we perceive the pain, how we react to the pain can influence those factors. So that's really important, because a lot of times what happens when we've had pain for a while, or we have a condition or a problem that is very threatening for us and creating a lot of stress and worry, our nervous system actually will get almost hyper-reactive and hypersensitive to the condition. That happens to a certain extent with all of us, but what does happen is it typically slowly goes away. Sometimes that hyperreactivity doesn't go away, and that's when we can have a difficult time with a more chronic problem. So what does that hypersensitivity mean? So you guys have probably all had injuries, you've all bumped yourself, had pain. So let's say I smacked my elbow really hard last week and it was really sensitive to touch, So a few days after it was maybe even feeling better, if I came close to bumping it against a wall or something, my nervous system would probably make me jump and cringe a little bit more than if that initial bump hadn't happened. So that's that hypersensitivity, to where our nervous system is a little more vigilant to that area than it is when we're not recovering from some painful episode. And then that will eventually go away till that hypersensitivity is no longer present. So when it doesn't go away, okay, it creates this more chronic situation of stress chemicals into your system, causing an increased sensitivity of the nervous system. So we want to do things to help downtrain or dampen that hypersensitivity, to help that part of the painful situation become less. You're also going to treat an underlying cause if it's there and if it's known. So this is not instead of anything else, it's along with it. So movement is good. I'm going to do a couple other videos on some simple movements that might help if you have maybe more diffuse, long-lasting pain. But things like movement that's not painful, breathing exercises, those are all great. But what I wanted to talk about today is our thoughts and how that plays into that hypersensitivity. So the more fear I have, like let's say I'm fearful about, oh my gosh, I hurt my elbow, I'm a physical therapist, I'm a yoga teacher, will I ever be able to work again? And I have all these other stresses and fears related to the injury, that will increase that sensitivity of the nervous system. So it makes it harder to recover from the initial injury. So we can't help those thoughts, right? We're human, you're gonna have them. But what research has shown is that if it's me, and let's say I had a true elbow injury, if I acknowledge that hypersensitivity may be exacerbated by fear and in hypersensitive nervous system, if I think about it and understand and maybe study that process a little bit, that actually helps to dampen it. Okay, it takes away its power a little bit. So knowledge truly is power, and really understanding that there's an element to that versus I still have pain, there must be something horribly wrong. You still want to, of course, see your doctor, have pain investigated, work with your physical therapist. But at a certain point, there is an element of just getting your nervous system to calm down. So an analogy that I like to give is thinking of a security system around a house, maybe like light sensors. So somebody walks by, triggers the light, the sensor, the movement sensor, and the light goes on. So if that were my body, it would be as if the light sensors were set to too sensitive. So somebody walks by way over there across the street, boom, the light went on, okay? So it's unnecessarily reactive. So we want to calm it back down so those sensors aren't tripped unless there is a true threat. And again, I will not try to tell you, oh, just don't worry, don't have fear. That's just part of life, and that's part of being human, especially if you have an injury and pain, that's part of it. But also spend a few minutes thinking about, well, that part, that hypersensitivity is part of an injury. It is part of having pain for any length of time. And if I think about that process a little bit, I can dampen the effect. So I hope that that's helpful. And again, there's so much on this topic. So I will try and do sort of bite-sized videos on the science of pain and how you can use it to help in your day-to-day life. But also please, in this same category, look at the movement videos. I'm going to be gradually adding more and putting some up that you might be able to incorporate to help you also with decreasing your nervous system sensitivity, as well as just doing healthy movement. And then please, if you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel, because then you'll get notifications as I keep adding more videos, which I will do regularly. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this is helpful.